รที่จะนำเสนอการสัมมนาที่ให้ความรู้เชิงลึกที่ชื่อว่าการเคลื่อนสู่โลกที่รู้สำนึกมากขึ้นตอนที่1ของ9ตอนในรายการระหว่างอาจารย์และลูกศิษย์ที่มีในภาษาอังกฤษในวันที่6มิถุนายนปี2
Hello, Master.
How are you?
Good, thank you, Master.
I read it in the news. It's a little bit more progressive now. So I read yesterday and the day before the head of the Church of England,
Yes, Master. Yes, Master.
Reverend Welby, apologized to some of the victims of the abuse from the Church of England. Yeah, maybe you saw it. Any of you? You saw it, yeah?
Yes, Master.
Good. Yes. And then also the head of the Catholic Church in Germany wrote a letter asked the Pope to let him resign.
Yes.
Because he say he's too ashamed. He feels guilty if he keeps being silent or doing nothing, meaning he condones that. And he realized that because of trying to protect the honor of the church, the reputation of the church, he ignored this problem. And he feels like a collective guilt or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Master.
I think maybe some of you have read that.
Yes.
Yes.
Es geht für mich im Kern darum, auch Mitverantwortung zu übernehmen für das, was in der Kirche geschehen ist. Im Raum der Kirche, die ein Raum der Heilung sein soll, der Hoffnung sein soll, der Zuversicht sein soll. Es geht also darum, das eine zu sehen, das individuelle Versagen einzelner Amtsträger, aber die Fixierung allein auf die Amtsträger ist zu wenig, das ist notwendig und das wird auch kommen, auch in anderen Bistümern, auch bei uns. Aber auch die institutionelle Verantwortung, die Verantwortung für die Institution selber. Ich glaube fest an eine neue Epoche des Christentums. Da ist für mich keine Frage. Aber das wird nur geschehen oder es wird besser geschehen, wenn die Kirche sich erneuert und wenn sie aus dieser Krise auch lernt. Ich bin überzeugt, dass diese Gesellschaft die Stimme des Evangeliums braucht, aber dafür braucht es auch eine Kirche, die sich immer wieder erneuert und versucht.
Actually, our work does bear some fruit. It's not as much as I want, but it does make some waves. It does stir up something, yeah?
Yes,
The Church of England is very big. It's almost equal to the Vatican.
Yes, Master.
The English church is almost different, but the same like the Vatican. They are more independent. They don't actually belong to the Vatican. Since a long time, they separate. They make it their own.
Yes, Master.
They call it in Vietnamese thanh giáo. I don't know how to say that in English. The Church of England, anyway, they call it.
Yes, Master.
It's not belonging to Catholic or anything. It's just independent by themselves. So two of the big church leaders have apologized. And the cardinal, he wanted to resign because of this shameful. So much abuse. Yeah, only a couple of countries reported. Many other countries did not report. But it doesn't mean it did not happen. Okay?
Yes.
This is evil in the house of the Lord. Truly like that. They're doing something. At least to show that they have some shame, some decency to admit and to do something in their own capacity at least. But it's too little, too late. He even said that the church has reached a dead end even. Believe that? As the German people, they don't beat around the bush. When they say something, they mean it. So the Catholic Church has the collective responsibility and guilt. And then the church has reached a dead end. That's what he wrote to the Pope. I wonder how it comes out into the public. Maybe he put it in the social media or something also. Not just send it to the Pope alone, but maybe somehow it's leaked out. His name is the Cardinal Reinhardt, and the head of the Church of England is the Archbishop Welby. He apologized to abuse victims. Oh my, what's the use of just apologizing? They kept nourishing it all this time, ignoring it and condoning it silently, or by being silent, it's almost like you accept it. Just because if they have less cardinals or less priests, that means they have less power So they cling on to all this and to protect the church's reputation, and they ignore the suffering of the little children who are so helpless and so frightened in that kind of situation. Again and again, it's not just one time, 2 times. And it doesn't matter how many times. It's disgusting. Yeah.
Yes, Master.
It's evil. It's evil. They're only little children, some as young as 13 or something even. My God, how evil can it be? All these decades. And the church still continues to exist and continues to fester this kind of evil within the house of the Lord. It's unacceptable.
Yes, Master. Yes, Master.
They abuse children because the children are easier to fall victim, like predators. They're molesting the weak, the meek, defenseless, and innocent. If children come home and maybe tell something, or parents might not even believe it and scold the kids or keep quiet, or they threaten the kids to keep quiet or else.
Yes.
And then even abuse the orphanage boys. Oh, how ugly can it be? My God. We call this the Church of God and the Church of Christianity, the Church of Catholics, whatever, all these holy names. What kind of degraded to the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
This is terrible, and they continue to exist and thrive and prosper, and make business and all kinds of advantages and privilege and honor and all that. What a shame. And meanwhile, the honest street girls are being harassed, being oppressed, being called names, being looked down upon.
Yes, Master.
Because some girls, they don't know what to do. Maybe their house is poor and they just have to sell the only assets they have. I don't mean that, I condone that. I don't mean that's a good thing to do. But what's the difference between them and these evildoers within the house of the Lord? Why condemn these honest so-called sex workers? They do it, they have to earn a living, and some people need them.
Yes, Master.
But the priests in the church, they don't need to do that.
No way.
And the children, they don't need them to do that.
No, definitely not.
Do you see?
Yes, Master. Yes,
So in that way, the street workers, the street girls, they are even more honorable, in my opinion. In my humble opinion.
Yes, Master.
What for do you try to protect the reputation of the empty church when it doesn't serve the purpose? The church is for the people, not the people for the church.
Yes, Master.
Yeah.
The church is to protect people, morals, virtues, and faith. Moral and virtues to live in the society, to harmonize with all beings. And faith is to remember and worship God. The church doesn't serve any of that. If they continue doing this kind of evil deeds and harming the little innocent children, helpless, defenseless children, do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, Master.
So what for does the church exist if they don't function the way they should function? Just repeating the Bible and singing psalms or whatever every day like that, what's the use of that? Huh?
Yes.
When a cup is dirty, how would you like to pour elixir into it? Or beautiful drink into that? And how will you drink it? It's still filthy, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Tainted.
I respect these two church leaders very much. The Reverend Head of the Church of England and the Reverend Head of the German Catholic Church. I respect them very much. At least they're decent enough to apologize. But that's not enough for me. That's not enough to make up for all the traumatic and hurtful and painful feelings of all these thousands or tens of thousands of children and more that are not discovered. Not making up for it ever, never.
Yes, Master.
And too little, too late also. But at least they did something for their conscience, for themselves. At least not condoning the continuing evil practice, at least not to try to cover up. If a cancer is already oozing out of the body, no matter what kind of beautiful clothes you cover it with, it's still a cancer inside.
Yes.
Yes, Master.
It's not just within the body, it's already oozed out onto the skin already. And the smell is so, what shall I say? So foul, huh?
Yes.
Yes, Master.
So repugnant already. And still try to cover with brocade, beautiful silk and satin and chiffon and whatever most expensive dress you can wear. What's the use of that, huh?
No.
No, Master.
Yeah. Any ordinary person, even with very little wit and minimal intelligence, still can understand that it is not acceptable, it's not pardonable.
That's right.
Yeah. It's not to condone and to continue at the cost of other little children in the past, present, and in the future. I'm so angry. I told you I'm an angry master. Yeah. When it comes to the animals and the children, because they're the most helpless, most vulnerable.
Yes, Master.
I'm so angry. I told you I'm an angry master. Yeah. When it comes to the animals and the children, because they're the most helpless, most vulnerable.
Yes, Master.
I could not do the video conference today. I almost could not do it, even by the phone, but I had to. I had to talk to you about this so that you can understand more why I am angry, okay?
Yes, Master. Yes, Master.
And why these things are the cancer of the society, of the world, the big world, big cancer, big, ugly, filthy cancer that has to be cut off. Otherwise, it infects the whole world. And nobody will believe in the teaching of Jesus if it continues this way. There will be more harm done. Do you understand?
Yes, Master.
To deny a cancer is to not seek the cure and not try to heal it. So they have to do something more obvious than this, more obvious than just here and there a little bit, here and there and all that, and just promising and doing nothing all these years, all these decades already. And how many more tens of thousands of children, little boys, little girls, have to suffer until they open their mouth and do something.
I was groomed starting young.
The day I met him, I was around 18 months old.
They targeted me because I was fatherless.
I was in my diaper and I ran out and ran right to him.
We were taught, I mean, the priests and the nuns are God.
Just think, like, the word God makes me think of him, and I just...
You're being groomed to get used to a grown man's hands, you know, on you regularly.
So he would always have his hands on me.
When you have the priest touching you every day, you know, that's a hard memory to have. And the church covered it up.
Who would have believed me? A priest in 1948 or 47 would abuse you? Would do that? Never heard of such a thing because they covered it up.
It doesn't ever go away. it has an effect on you for the rest of your life.
These are people that these priests ruined their lives, and they still, at 83 years old, still affects them.
I just feel like my whole life has been a lie.
Has absolutely destroyed me.
My children suffered. My wife suffered. I couldn't show any affection with my wife.
I had no desire to have children. None, because of this.
My children I couldn't hold or hug.
I didn't feel comfortable at all. I still don't feel comfortable now in relationships.
I remember a poem some priest in Japan wrote it. Well, anyway, I read it from a Japanese Buddhist book. But it could be the Japanese priest, it could be Chinese. I don't remember which country's priest, okay? But they have even a little reverence for the street girls, so-called prostitutes, yes?
Yes, Master.
Yes. They are doing it openly and honestly. They sell only what they have. If they have nothing else to sell, society pushed them into this corner already. Everybody looks down upon them. But look at the holy of all the holy people who are supposed to lead the faithful into virtues, morals, and God realization. Look at what they're doing, behind closed doors, forcing little weak children, towering upon them, squashing even the little children's dignity and peace. And they will be traumatized all their life, these little kids. And don't wonder if they became criminals even.
Right.
For hating the system of holiness, and which is just betraying their faith and their innocence and destroys their lives. Do you hear me?
Yes, Master.
Oh, I'm just so breathless. I'm just so angry. This is a one-sided oppression and bullying. One-sided. Because the children have no say in it.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't even ask their permission or agreement, nothing. This is outright, how you say?
Abuse.
Abuse. Yeah.
Abuse, of course, but that is not enough of a word for me. I cannot find a better word. Abusing, molesting is nothing. This is evil. You understand me?
Yes, Master. Yes, Master.
This is criminal. I remember the poem written by a Buddhist priest. I don't remember exactly everything. It's just something, okay?
Yes, Master.
Like the Buddha sells the Dharma. The monks sell the Buddha. She sells her body. All to satisfy sentient beings, different desires. I read that. I felt very touched. You understand me?
Yes, Master. Yes.
Yes. It seems not reverent to the Buddha and the monks, but it is so. He is a straightforward and honest person. He does not look down upon the prostitute.
Yes, Master.
Yes. And long time ago, many 10 years ago, I still had enough time to recite poetry, and I recited one of the poems for the Vietnamese disciples. Not a lot of them at that time. It's something about one of these courtesans, the prostitute. She is having, of course, a night with one of the clients, a man, on the river, on the boat. It was so romantic with the boat and the moon reflecting in the water, and it was in the night and quiet. And then the girl who worked as the prostitute felt very lonely. And maybe she liked that customer, of hers. And she begged him to stay with her for a while longer. Why so hurried? Because the moon is so bright. As if heaven is having a party, a festival. So if you leave, my heart will feel too lonely. Something like that. I remember all the Vietnamese words, but I'm not in a mood to recite for you right now. If you can, you find it. It's an old-time recitation, okay? Maybe in LA they will have a copy somewhere, privately preserved, yes? I'm not sure if they recorded it.
Khách ngồi lại cùng em trong chốc nữa vội vàng chi, trăng sáng quá khách ơi. Đêm nay rằm yến tiệc sáng trên trời, khách không ở lòng em cô độc quá. Khách ngồi lại cùng em đây vội là tay em đây và hồn của em đây. Em cũng tự đặt dưới chân hoàng tử. Xác tiếng gà trắng ngà lạnh buốt, mắt run mờ kỹ nữ thấy sông trôi. Du khách đi, du khách đã đi rồi. Tội nghiệp quá ha. Có ai biết đâu tâm tình của mấy người kỹ nữ ha. Có nhiều người nhưng mà đâu có người nào yêu đâu ha.
And one of your brothers, Vietnamese brother, asked me, why did you recite such things? You are a monk. Why did you recite poetry talking about a prostitute woman? So I said to him, very clear in my mind that she is a Buddha. Inside. I say inside her, she has also Buddha nature, like you.
Yes, ma'am.
When I spoke like that, it was very clear to me that it is like that. It is true like that. With all objectivity and reverence.
Yes, Master.
For all beings at all. And I still